Alright, so this video, I'll show you how to reassemble an American lock, and this works on American knockoffs or rekeyable padlocks, or really it's how you kind of at least load up any pin tumbler cylinder. So you've got this far, you've got the lock all taken apart, your springs are out and everything. And if you don't have a key, it doesn't matter what order you put them in because you don't have a key, so it doesn't make any difference. I mean, if you do have a key, you're not sure what order they're in. You can look, the deepest cut is going to have the longest pin, the shallowest cuts are going to have the shortest pins, so that's a place to start. And you just put your key in, and I don't know which direction that I took this apart in, I can't remember, but see that pin right there looks like it's too shallow, so that's not the right one, so probably start it over here. Okay, so that's the longest pin. Okay, so that's flush. Okay, so that's the right pin, so it's going to this direction. And of course, if your pins have a point on it, the point goes down. If they don't have a point on, like stock quickset pins don't, it doesn't matter. Okay, and this is only pinned up 5, so it's drilled 6, pinned 5, so that last hole is going to be empty. And you see that they're all flush, which means they're in the right spot, and the lock will operate. Okay, so that's the easy part. Now the harder part is loading up the springs and the top pins. You're going to need something with a follower. This is a dowel rod. It's it's a size smaller than a 1/2 inch. Then I had to actually sand it a little bit to make it thin enough to fit in here. Like I think like a AAA battery will work, but it doesn't have that notch. It can be a little bit tricky if it doesn't have a notch in it. So what you can do on this, when you look at the Bible, on an American lock, this piece right here that hangs over, that's the front of the lock. Okay, the part that's flat, that's the back of the lock. You put it in backward, it's not going to fit into the actual body of the lock. It'll drop in, but you won't be able to get the bottom plate on it. Now what you can do is doesn't really matter which side you start on, but this is remember it's drilled 6, only pinned 5, so this is going to be our 6th hole. We don't want to put anything in there because it'll end up dropping into here. It'll drop into that 6th hole and it'll jam your lock up. So what we're going to do is tweezers for this. Okay, I'll take my spring here. Try to keep this on camera. I'll put it in my little notch here, drop it back, count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there's our 5th hole. Probably can't see us here. Turn it, and if it doesn't just drop in, then you just use your tweezers or a pick or a flathead screwdriver or something. Okay, so I'll see if I can do the last 3 actually on camera here. So, to the spring. Sorry once again here, this is a lot easier without a camera in the way. Alright, so see it dropped into the hole. Then you're going to take your top pin, put it over it, and you're just going to have to just press it down into the hole, and then you just slide your follower over it. And then we put in chamber 2, and then we'll drop the pin on top of it, push it into the hole, And just slide your follower over it. Okay, and then same deal, you take your last pin. This will be pin number 1, and drop it into the hole, push the follower over it. Okay, so now our top pins are loaded, and then what we're going to do is, okay, put your key in here. You don't have to have the key if you don't want to, but got it in, you make sure everything's flush, and you want to make sure that that empty hole is not lined up over the Bible here, because otherwise you're going to get a pin in there and jam your cylinder up. And you're going to just push it. You may kind of push on the follower and push on the plug at the same time, so there's no gap between them for any of the top pins to drop into. Now that it's all the way in, test it. Just turn the key, and if the key turns, then you get everything in the right spot, and it's good. Now, can't stress this enough here. When you take the key out, put your thumb over it, push the plug in, because otherwise, when you pull the key out, the whole plug is going to come out with it. So you can see it start to separate there, and if that whole thing comes out, then you're going to be shooting your springs all over the place and be starting over again. So you make sure you put your thumb over it, pull it out, take your C-clip, and put your C-clip on. There's actually a little kind of a groove on the back that it pops into, so now that's popped all the way on. Now we're ready to actually load it back into the lock here. So we see the actuator is right here on this side. So this is does the actuator right there. So it actually turns it to pop the lock. So we're going to drop that in on top of that. And this has to be pushed to this side so it doesn't cover the hole for the screw. Now we'll be putting our bottom plate on. There's a little hole right there. So it's going to drop in. Now if you put the plug in backwards, it will go in backwards. If you put it in the wrong way on the Bible. But what happens is it sticks up too high and you can't get your plate back on. So put our bottom plate back on. Got our nut. The nut goes in. There's actually 2 little notches in the bottom plate that this nut actually locks into. And on an American lock, it is a Phillips screw. Some master locks, other locks will be an Allen screw, but this just drops into the hole like so. And I'm using a number 2 Phillips. And you just want to tighten it down. You don't want to over tighten this. You can actually snap these off. I actually got a lock from eBay that the screw was actually snapped off in the nut and somebody just cranked down. Now, another very, very important step here now that we've got this back together. What you want to do here, before you lock the shackle back covering that screw, take your key, test it out, and make sure that the lock turns. If it doesn't turn, you snap it back, and you'll have to pick it to get it open. Now just lock it back, key in, lock works, and it's all reassembled. So that's how you reassemble, specifically an American 1105, but most rekeyable padlocks are going to be real close to that, if not pretty much the same. So that's all for now, and I'll talk to everybody later.